Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. Mr. Two Hands Up, salute my brother.
What's good, Nuke? Salute my guy.
Say, man, we can't play with him today. We need to put both hands up.
They know what it is.
Say, man, we're going to get it, and we finna embarrass these fanboys. You know, I had a lot of fanboys calling out this work, and they finna get every bit of this work. It's been a long time overdue. Everybody, salute to Robert Hernandez, Fred Hazard, Jackpot, Lewis, Willie Williams, salute. If you don't know Mr. Two Hands Up, check him out, subscribe. This man is the absolute truth, and we're going to wreck shop today. It's not going to be any games. And you know, we got a lot to talk about. Andy Ruiz, Canelo Alvarez, Deontay the Clown Wilder. Let's just get into it, and let's just start wrapping these boys up. Mr. Two Hands, you can take the stage first, my brother. Anything you want to speak on first?
Man, hey, I'm up for whatever, man. You just want to get into it, however we get into it, bro. I'm up for all topics, man. I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it, because you know what? The landlord is here and the rent is due. So let's go ahead and get this rent paid, or somebody's finna get evicted. The first thing we're going to do is a fanboy call out. And this, you know, Mr. Two Hands, if you don't know, I'm going to let you know. Any fanboys that's on here that are listening, that are hiding in the shadows, that have been talking all this trash all week, that's been wanting all this work, now you got the opportunity to get it. And if you don't get it from me, you can get it from Two Hands Up. You can take it however you want it. Okay, look like we got one, Two Hands. KC, y'all. And he's saying we're both weak. Okay. The only thing weak is your picture on your profile. See, I can already tell the type of dude you is. You can already see, Two Hands. You can already tell the type of dude this dude is. You soft. You had her picking flowers, but you want to call somebody weak. Come on now.
Over there, man.
Come on now.
See, the trying to call the boys weak.
You know, but you know what kind of dude that calls somebody weak? See, he calling us weak, but we the same dude laid up with his mama. See, that's the type of dude that want to get on her and talk. See, we're gonna bring your mama into the conversation unless you want to get on her and talk boxing, because calling us weak ain't boxing. So we're gonna talk about your mama. We're gonna talk about your pictures. We're gonna talk about you. That's the problem. That's the problem. Oh, we got LDBC Kings. Drop me a link. You must be talking to your mama with those type of names. Name a fact and you can get the business. Name a fact and you can get the business. Come on now, name a fact. Because that's the problem with these fanboys. They talk trash, Two Hands, but they don't want it. They don't want it. And I'm gonna give them everything they want today, because the energy is real.
They don't want the smoke. They definitely don't want the smoke.
They don't want it. And we're trying to talk boxing. So I tell you what, if these dudes don't want any of the real LDBC Kings, if you want the smoke, go ahead and give me something you want to debate about, and I'll drop a link. I'll drop a link, and I'll let you get all the work you want. I'll let you get all the work you want. Give me something to debate. And before we get into it, the first thing we're going to get into is Errol Spence being drunk. Errol Spence Jr. being at the club. And my only problem with Errol Spence Jr. is this. And Two Hands, I'm going to let you get into it as well. My only problem with Errol Spence is this. I think Errol Spence is a good fighter. I think that, you know, he's one of the top welterweights. I have no problem with Errol Spence Jr. at all. He's a unified champion. Much respect to Errol Spence. The only problem that I have at this point with Errol Spence is that we keep seeing you at the club. The only problem with Errol Spence, we keep seeing you with bottles. So if you got a drinking problem that caused an enormous wreck, why are you still being seen in this type of lifestyle? See, the difference is people say, well, Floyd was in the club. Floyd didn't have a drinking problem. Floyd didn't wreck a Lambo. You don't see, you know, you've seen Floyd dedicated to his craft. You've seen, you know, Terrence Bud Crawford, Andre Ward, SOG. All of these guys dedicated to their craft. And that's what made them great fighters. That's what make these guys Hall of Fame worthy fighters. That's why these guys are special. When you see a guy like Errol Spence Jr., he's not dedicated to his craft. He's in the club dancing with another man. That's a whole nother issue. But my thing is, you should have been, if you're going to be in the club and you're going to be doing all that, come on now, you know better than that. Two Hands. You got to give it to him.
Man. No self-preservation whatsoever, dog. Like, it's sad, man, because I'm like, bro, you really just cheated death right there, man. What happened to him is called divine intervention, bro. That means God stepped in and saved your life, gave you a second chance, bro. You already back at the club, man. Looking at dude's face, his face looked like it weighed about 147 pounds. He just ballooning up. this man face was a welterweight in the club. He in there jugging with other men and stuff like that. Man, it don't look good, bro. And if that's what you doing, then look, I can't have no sympathy for you. Then you should be ready for Terrence Crawford. You back in the club, bro. You should be ready for top ops.
Hold on. We got TB Boxing Addict here, two hands, and he says, has Errol Spence ever missed weight? I don't think you understand the question. Excuse me, two hands, but I'm gonna get a little raw on this dude real quick.
Handle your business.
I don't think you understand the question, TB. Has Errol Spence ever missed weight? What does that got to do with wrecking a Lamborghini? What does that got to do with having a drinking problem? Missing weight means absolutely nothing. Means nothing. If you keep wrecking cars and risking your life, you got to be dedicated to your craft. See, this business ain't made for a guy to be successful years down the road who balloons up 25 pounds in weight. I didn't say that, Errol Spence did, because the problem with you ballooning up in weight and you immediately coming down right before a fight, what happens with that is that you're not spending the time to improve your craft. You're just losing the weight and running into a fight. And you're going to run into a guy like Bud Crawford because we saw the kinks that Errol Spence has in his armor. We saw he didn't like it to the body. We saw he didn't like it when Sean Porter roughed him up. We saw Sean Porter back him up. He didn't look like an elite level fighter then. That's the problem. Missing weight has nothing to do with having a drinking problem. Those are two different things. Speak to him, two hands.
Right, like I mean, he talking about missing weight. We're addressing a whole nother issue here, bro. We talking about this man just coming off the brink of life and death, and you talking about him ever missing weight. Well, actually, when he fought Mikey Garcia, he was a couple pounds overweight, and it took him to the final weigh-in to get it together. So yes, his weight is a problem, and he balloons up in weight prior to not fighting because he's not disciplined, and the drinking problem shows another level of his lack of discipline. So if you worried about him missing weight, bro, you were completely missing the issue when this man is out there riding around with F&Ns in his car, 9mm for you dummies, riding around with F&Ns, wrecking cars and shit like that, almost dying. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think the weight should even be the issue here. The man seriously got a drinking problem, obviously, and his best friend even said he liked to party too much.
In two hands, this is the problem. See, TB Boxing Addict, I respect you, I like you, so don't take disrespect to this comment, but you might need a special ed. We might need an Ibfp for dummies, because I don't think you quite getting what I'm telling you. So let's be honest and unbiased, and let me break it down. He said it's about being dedicated. That's what you're saying. Being 25 pounds overweight and trying to burn off that stuff between camps, it's not being dedicated. Having a drinking problem and constantly being in the club around the thing that's your biggest vice is not being dedicated. It's not just about making actual weight. I don't think you understand. I just had to give it to him, two hand. I don't think he understands what's going on. That's why we're going to have to put him in the IBFP boxing schools for dummies. That's really it. Because he's not getting it.
Most definitely. Gotta hand him his book, because, you know, even when Bud Crawford pulled up on him behind him backstage, you know, when Bud Crawford was saying, yo, you look fat. And what was Errol saying? How I look at the weigh-in, how I look at the weigh-in. So he's already telling you that he is undisciplined. And the only time he is disciplined when he has a camp coming up. Man, look, boxing, you're supposed to stay dedicated to your craft, man. And obviously what this man has going on in his life, he got some bigger issues that he might need to worry about. That's all we pointing to.
That's right. And look, and you know what's going to happen is he's going to go out there and fight a guy like Terrence Crawford, a guy who's truly dedicated, because in my opinion, I believe he got a gift decision against Sean Porter. But even if you don't believe that, you know that Sean Porter gave him everything he wanted and more. And Sean Porter has already been beat by a guy like Keith Thurman. You got to understand that Bud Crawford's a whole nother animal. He's a whole nother level. He has a whole nother skill set. Errol Spence didn't even make any significant adjustments in that fight. You got to understand he's not getting better. His IQ's not getting better, because instead of spending the time in the gym, dedicating his craft, what is he doing? In the club dancing with another man. Be honest and unbiased. And maybe that man was you, TB. That's why you defending him. I got to give it to him. I got to give it to him. And LDBC Kings, First thing you need to do is slap your mama. The second thing you need to do is name a fact in the chat and I'll put you on, you coward. See, that's what I hate is a coward talking trash, but you won't name a fact. Give me a fact and we can debate, but you haven't named one. So until you do, you get no respect to play on the IBFP.
You know what they want to do, Nuke? They just want to come up here and look cute and heckle and shit. Nah, bro, we want you up here when you talking something actual, factual, bro. We care less if you just want to come up here and blow hot air. If you ain't talking boxing, bro, you good right where you at.
Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. Mr. Two Hands Up. And you know, we got to get to the next one. We got to get to the next one. Tyson Fury said that he's going to stop Deontay Wilder. And I'm not saying Tyson Fury can stop Deontay Wilder. My only thing about that is I think he has an ability to stop him. Because Deontay Wilder is a poor technical fighter, I think that Tyson Fury can put his punches together, set Wilder up with a shot he can't see, and really hurt him bad.
You know, I have to agree with you. You know, I didn't find anything far-fetched about what he was saying because, to be perfectly honest, man, the boy don't have no chin. And I mean, Tyson Fury is an elite fighter. And he even alluded to what I've been saying. I said, man, he had to focus on his weight this whole time. He couldn't focus on having any pop in his punches. He had to focus on losing a whole nother grown man of weight. So now he going to actually have that extra pop in his punch. So, yeah, he could set him up. He could hit him with something flush on the chin and knock him out. No question.
Okay. And okay, the LDBC Kings wants to debate Canelo's pound for pound number one. Let's debate it. Okay. I will debate Canelo pound for pound number one with you if you tell me who your number one pound for pound fighter is. If it's not Canelo, who is it? Who is it? And then we can debate. Let's get the debate going. Tell me who it is. Salute to my brother D. Jefferson. Speak your mind, sports talk for the love of sports. Let's talk about it.
Yes, sir. What's up, Mr. IBFP boxing Nuke? Mr. Two Hands Up. What's good with you guys?
Man, just chilling, bro. Just got that barbecue grill on high, man.
Okay.
We having a fanboy roast at LDBC Kings. Said that Canelo's not number one pound for pound. Vasil Lomachenko is. And my opinion is, while Vasil Lomachenko is an all-around good fighter, he's an elite fighter, has a varying skill set. He's a special fighter. He's never had beaten the level of competition that Canelo Alvarez has beaten. He's never even been in a ring with guys like Triple G. He's never moved up 2 weight classes and took on a guy like Kovalev. He's never done the things that he's done. Even in Canelo's loss to Floyd, he took an enormous challenge at 22 years old while he was, being weight drained, all while doing it, and he still took the fight. Vasil Lomachenko, how is he number one pound for pound? Explain that to me. You guys, you want to speak on the number one pound for pound?
Well, being that it's subjective, people can have their opinion, but there's no way I would put Lomachenko at number one pound for pound either. Prior to Canelo beating Kovalev, I actually had Crawford at number one, and that put Canelo beating Kovalev put him over Crawford for me. I actually didn't have Lomachenko over Crawford, so I definitely don't put him as number one, and that's just my opinion on it, and I agree with Nuke. I mean, guys, just look at, there's a lot that come to play when we talk about pound for pound number one, and Canelo's accomplishing, and there's so much hate. I don't know if this LDBC Kings, if he's a part of the LDBC, but to my recollection, they didn't even like Lomachenko. But it is anything to bash Canelo down, to take shine from Canelo. That's just all it sounds like to me. No way we could put Lomachenko ahead of Canelo.
Canelo hate, D. Who you got number one pound for pound and why, my brother?
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I would have to have Canelo at number one. Just with the Kovalev loss, that's another title, that's another weight class, and I would have to put Bud comfortably at number two. And arguably, I don't even know if I could put Lomachenko over Inouye, because if you look at the body of work Inouye has done since his 6th fight and the belts he's collected, I mean, he honestly took a tougher, or if not just as tough road as Canelo. So, I mean, really, Canelo could never be number one on my list. Lomachenko could never be number one on my list, but Canelo could be for sure. I mean, look at the guys he's fought. He's fought your Cottos, he's fought your Shane Mosley, he's fought your Floyd Mayweathers, even though he's lost. He's fought, man, I mean, shoot, you can go down the list. How many active champions he's got right now? At least like 6 I can think of off the break. Like, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know what these dudes is thinking, man.
And that's all it is. And look, let's just keep going. Let's go to the next one. This idiot LDBC King said Deontay Wilder is the ¡1 heavyweight as well. Now you got to be an idiot. You're talking about a guy with 40 plus fights, who's never been an elite level opponent, who's never unified. What has he done to be the #1 heavyweight? Anthony Joshua unified right away. Anthony Joshua lost the belts and got him back with no tune-up. What are we talking about? Dillian Whyte has a better resume than Deontay Wilder. Talk to him, Two Hands.
Man, there could never be a day where I would ever say Deontay Wilder is fucking #1. How could Deontay Wilder be #1? I mean, when you got Anthony Joshua, who was a unified champion, and you got Tyson Fury, who's a former unified champion, lineal, both of those guys beat the man. Deontay Wilder's never even stepped in the ring with the man. Shoot, the first man he really stepped in the ring with was Tyson Fury, and we saw how that outcome went. When he couldn't keep him on the ground, and he pretty much got beat every round outside of 2. So how could Deontay Wilder be #1? I just don't see it.
D, you're on mute. You looking like the LDBC Kings right here. Step up, my brother.
I'm in now. And you know what else is funny? It's funny how this Dillian Whyte situation and Wilder being dropped and sparring just resurfaced, because that just makes me think. Fury beats Klitschko. AJ beat Klitschko. Wilder ducked Klitschko. How the hell is he the best? See, they always talk about, oh, y'all always run back to that Klitschko victory. But Wilder wouldn't even fight him. So when is the best scared to fight? Get out of here. Wilder ain't the best heavyweight. Stop the nonsense right now, bro.
and Wilder has nothing but cherry-pick fights. See, Wilder doesn't fight guys with elite level power. That's why he's ducking Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua. Dillian Whyte has an elite level left hook. If he hits Wilder with that hook, he's going to sleep. Go ask Derek Chisora about his left hook and tell me what it is. That's why Deontay Wilder don't want real smoke from guys who are pressure fighters and guys who are big punchers. Anthony Joshua was fighting a variety of style. That's why he's a special fighter. You got to understand the difference. These fanboys don't know, Two Hands. They don't understand the game of boxing.
They don't get it, man. They don't know the difference between an all-around elite fighter and a one-trick pony, man. They don't know the difference between the two. What they fall in love with is a one-trick pony, man. And I mean, speaking on what D was saying about Wilder being knocked out by Klitschko, James Ali Bashir, he went on the radio show and he talked about that, and that was in 2013. So you know Wilder won the belt in 2015. You know Klitschko called him out in 2015, but they were saying Wilder was still a baby. So maybe that's why they were alluding to the fact of why they didn't want to fight Vladimir Klitschko at that time, because he had him on the floor twitching, looking crazy.
and we got an idiot here, TV Boxing Addict, and you know he's my brother, but I got to call him an idiot at time because he made casual statements. He said Wilder's #1 simply because resume means a lot, because it's how you beat him. First of all, you knocking out 1 million tomato cans are still tomato cans. They don't make them elite level fighters, because you see when you move up with levels of competitions, the knockouts stop. That's what people don't understand. When Triple G moved up with the levels of competition, when he fought to Danny Jacobs, to Sergey Deverenchenko's, and the Canelo Alvarez, the knockout stopped. It's a different thing when you move up with levels of competition. Knockout stop. He couldn't knock out Tyson Fury, and he just admitted he didn't knock him out. So there's nothing you can say. Everybody else is a wash fighter. Luis Ortiz is a 1,000-year-old ancient alien mummy.
Bro, 100%. Never been champion in his life. Then when he got the interim belt, he got it stripped away as soon as he got it.
And then, you know, and Deontay Wilder, man, look, let's be real. The guy has over 40 fights, right? But he only has 3 guys ever in the top 10. Luis Ortiz, Bermane Stiverne, and Tyson Fury. But let's take a look at this, though. Luis Ortiz, they slid him in there so that they could get him into a certain fight. That fool never beat anybody to earn his spot. But let's talk about Bermane Stiverne. Back when Deontay Wilder, when Bermane Stiverne was top 10 and Deontay Wilder fought him, he couldn't knock him out. Which means when he gets to a top 10 fighter, what happens? He couldn't knock him out. When Tyson Fury came to him, he couldn't knock him out. As you move up in level, you're not going to knock him out. When he knocked Bermain Stavern out the second time, it was a year and something past their first fight, and Bermain Stavern won't rank top 50 because he was fat and out of shape. But when he came in the ring ready to fight, top 10, Deontay Wilder couldn't knock him out. Fury got off the couch, fought 2 bums. Deontay Wilder couldn't knock him out. Man, y'all fanboys need to cut it out. All y'all wait on and pray for is that knockout. It ain't coming. Tyson Fury taking them belts or that belt.
And let's get to the one that's been talking out. Eddie Hearn, made a 7-figure offer for Dillian Whyte to fight Andy Ruiz Jr. I think that, in my opinion, I'm gonna break it down. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think Dillian Whyte came to his last fight enormously out of shape. Andy Ruiz was out of shape. These guys get in shape, go at it. That's a lit fight. That fight has all the makings of fireworks, of a knockout, and it's an absolute total war. I love that fight. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it needs to happen. Who do you got? How do you see the fight? And does Andy Ruiz take that fight with that enormous offer next?
Now, I will say this. I think it's a great fight. I really do. I think it's a great fight. I think it's a pick'em fight. But I think Andy Ruiz has no choice but to take that fight. I'm getting ready to do a video on him and a couple of other guys. In 2020, it's all or nothing for these 3 guys I'm getting ready to do a video about, and Andy Ruiz is in there. Listen, he had to come back and win that fight with AJ to, at least for him.
Hold on, D. I'm sorry. I got to pause the show because TV said something so stupid. I got to check him for 1 second. When you say something this stupid, it got to get addressed. He said, did AJ drop an overweight Ruiz? Listen, idiot, he outboxed him for 12 rounds. Why would you need to drop him? That got to be the dumbest thing in the world. Did Floyd Mayweather Jr. drop Manny Pacquiao? No, but it's still a great victory. You can't worry about if you drop a guy in the fight. You got to get the victory in a dominant fashion, and you respect that. This guy can't be this stupid. You can't be this stupid.
He's a straight casual, Nuke, and I bet you this TV boxing. Did Errol Spence drop an underweight Mikey Garcia? Go smack yourself. Go smack yourself.
Go get him, 2 hands.
Go smack yourself.
Kill shot. See, this is the thing. This is the thing about these dudes, D. This is the thing about these dudes, Nuke, that I understand it. I'm sure we all understand. Man, when they guy don't catch the win, or they fanboy over one fighter so much and they dislike another fighter like Anthony Joshua, when Anthony Joshua comes in and performs and does the opposite of what he wants him to do, they got to find a moral victory somewhere. See, that's what that is right there. He's trying to find a little moral victory in saying Anthony Joshua didn't knock Andy Ruiz down. But one thing Anthony Joshua did do, he had his head snapping back like a damn car accident the whole fight.
And look, that's the problem. These guys, you can't name a casual statement and expect not to be called out. We gotta separate the real from the fake, the truth from the hate. Does Andy Ruiz take the fight first off? Let's start there. Does he take this fight next? It's a massive offer, and if he doesn't take it, is it a duck? Is it not a duck? I put a poll up. A lot of people saying it's not a duck. Some people saying it is. Is it a duck if he doesn't take 7 figures to fight Dillian Whyte next?
I don't necessarily think it's a duck because of that loss he just came off, but I say it's stupid because Andy Ruiz needs to get back on the saddle, and this is a big payday. He needs to make this fight. Andy Ruiz, I don't look at him as a ducker because before he even fought AJ, he was calling out all of them. Wilder, AJ, Fury, he wanted that smoke. And then as soon as Eddie Hearn and them called his number, he was ready to take that fight. So I don't look at him as a ducker, but I can see the argument if he doesn't take the fight because it's a 7-figure payday. And what else you got going for you?
Do you think he will take the fight?
I think he will.
Okay. He said he's on the record of taking 2 hands. Does Andy Ruiz take the fight? And is he a ducker if he doesn't take it?
Man, he has to take the fight. If he doesn't take the fight, I'm gonna have to consider it a duck. And I'm not. And the only reason I gotta consider it a duck is what he said after the fight. He wants to get right back in championship contention. If he wants to contend for championships, there's the perfect avenue right there. You got the interim WBC heavyweight champion sitting right there, and it's 7 figures on the table. It's too good not for you to take. So if you don't take something like that, then you really can't say you want to be a champion again because the avenue is right there for you to take the fight. So they say February of 2021. So they're saying for the mandatory to be called upon. So if he doesn't take that fight, I have to say it's a duck. And you know what I mean? The fight is definitely a 50-50 fight. I see both of those guys meeting each other at the center of the ring, but in my opinion, I feel as though Dillian Whyte has the heavier hands. So he's more susceptible getting caught with that left hook. But yeah, I would have to consider it a duck just from what he's saying right now.
And my only thing is right now, I can see the argument for both ways. I can see him coming off a loss needing a tune-up, but at the same time, he's a championship elite level type fighter. He's proved he was a unified champion. So I can see the argument both ways. My thing is I think Andy Ruiz absolutely needs to take this fight next. And this is why. Because, you know, he said he wants a trilogy with AJ. He wants to stay at the top. This is the only way to do it. You can't fight tomato cans at this point. Andy Ruiz is already in his prime. He's too good to take any fight less. And not only that, Andy Ruiz Jr. can win this fight. It's a very winnable fight. Dillian Whyte can win it. Ruiz can win it. It's 50-50. Either guy can win it. It makes too much sense to pass up on this fight. It makes just too much sense to pass up on the fight. I see the fight. It needs to happen. The only problem is Al Heyman going to try to interfere in getting this fight done?
Well, I've had an inside source tell me when it came to Canelo and it came to getting the PBC to make the Amir Khan fight, and it came to Julio Cesar Jr. When they wanted to make those fight, they completely went right around Al. They went to Amir Khan, and they went to Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. with the offers, and they went to Al and they told him to make the fight. That's what an insider told me, that Golden Boy Promotions told him about the fight, because when it comes down to it, like same time last year when they tried to make the offer for Charlo to fight Canelo, they said that they don't even think Al Heyman even showed them the numbers for the fight. They even let Charlo know that Canelo wanted to fight him. So if you want to get that guy in the ring, you got to go around Al Heyman. Period. You got to make the offer to the fighter.
And I think it needs to happen. It makes a lot of sense. And I'm gonna touch on a few things that we've been battling with and dealing with. The first thing is a lot of people have been saying Canelo Alvarez is cherry picking Billy Joe Saunders. So I just want to touch on this one more time because I got to get it. Whether you like Canelo or hate him, there's a lot of love-hate relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Some people love him, some people hate him. That's all good and fine. You can like him, you can dislike him. My only thing is let's stick to facts. At first they said Canelo was ducking Billy Joe Saunders. At first they said that Canelo Alvarez would never fight a slick southpaw. At first they said that Canelo Alvarez would never fight a fighter in his prime. He's in his prime. He's a slick fighter, and they said he was ducking, and he's taking the fight. They're in deep negotiations. How is this a cherry pick? He's an undefeated world champion. Yes, he didn't look great in his last fight, but here's a problem. Demetrius Andre didn't look good after he fought Jack Colclay. Demetrius Andre didn't look good after he fought a guy like Vanes Martirosyan getting dropped. Jamal Charlo don't look good fighting a Brandon Adams in a showcase fight, and he couldn't even knock him out. Explain to me he didn't look good in Matt Korobov fights. Explain to me how you cherry picking an undefeated world champion in his prime with a slick southpaw stance that's shown you trouble in the past. How is that a cherry pick?
And then, you know, everybody with this cherry picking and ducking on Canelo, look at the other three guys that they're always fussing about. GGG, Demetrius Andre, and Jamal Charlo. Look at the last few guys that Canelo has fought. These idiots ain't fought nobody on none of their level. None of them. You take Canelo's fights and GGG, maybe GGG with Deverenchenko, and that's about it. But collectively, these guys are not doing anything. But they want to keep hollering about Canelo's ducking, Canelo's cherry picking. Well, if Canelo is ducking and cherry picking, then what the hell are they doing? Because they're not fighting anybody on the level of competition that Canelo's fighting. They're not fighting each other. Charlo's fighting 154-pounders. Andre's fighting Seleckies. Come on, bro. Hey, they just want to keep throwing shade at Canelo at any level.
Let me do two things. One, salute to Charles D in the chat, my brother. And the next one is Scott Brown said Canelo Alvarez is ducking. Archer better BF. Explain that right now, Scott Brown. And look, I'm going to just be real with you. How's Canelo Alvarez ducking a fighter How's he ducking a fighter in a division he doesn't even campaign in? He's not a 175-pound fighter. He does not campaign in the light heavyweight division. That was a one-off with Sergey Kovalev, who was a more accomplished fighter than Beterbiev when he fought him. Explain that to me. See, the problem with these guys is they want to create all these boogeymen for Canelo Alvarez. They want him to get beat by anyone. They're praying. They're hoping that anybody can beat him. This is getting desperate. Talk to him, Two Hands.
Man, that's absolutely ridiculous to me. And just like you said, how can he be ducking Arthur Beterbiev when he clearly gave up the WBO belt? And another thing is, how can Billy Joe Saunders be a freaking cherry pick? Billy Joe Saunders is the best guy that he could absolutely pick and fight right now. I mean, you know, you can consider it technical ability. If you want to look at Demetrius Andrade as the other choice, okay, I can understand that. But as far as on paper, and I'm talking about the level of competition, Billy Joe Saunders would have to be that guy. When he fought David Lemieux, everybody said that he would get knocked out by David Lemieux. He made that look easy. He fought the middleweight champion Andy Lee, beat him, made that look easy. Fought Chris Eubanks, beat him, made that look easy. So when it comes down to it, I mean, let's be serious here. Billy Joe Saunders is the best choice, and it's a very dangerous fight for Canelo. So I don't even see what the whole problem is. And what another thing people are alluding to is the fact that Billy Joe Saunders has a win over John Ryder, the same John Ryder who really beat Callum Smith in his last bout. But hey, you know, it's a cherry pick, right?
Exactly. And Scott Brown said, Beterbiev versus Canelo is a great fight. Yeah, just because it's a great fight don't mean it's a duck if it doesn't happen. He does not campaign at 175. I don't think these guys understand. But you know what? It's okay because the rent is due and your landlord is here and it's time to get evicted. We're going to bring that same energy back, D, that we were talking about with Errol Spence Jr. partying in the club, not being dedicated to his craft. It's Errol Spence partying in the club, not being dedicated to his craft. And, you know, it doesn't matter if he's drunk or not. The problem is if you have a drinking problem and you keep putting yourself around a vice like that, you're not dedicated to your craft. You see he's vastly overweight, and he's already had a problem losing the weight. And, you know, before fights again, you keep showing the same pattern and you're not working on the flaws and deficiencies in your game. At this point, what are you doing to become better? Because Terrence Crawford, he's working to be better. If you think that it wasn't planned and strategic the way that he fought Mean Machine, you're crazy and you don't understand boxing.
And Errol Spence, you sat up there and you lied to us, fam. You lied to me especially because I'm a Spence fan. But you sat up there in that interview during the Charlo fight and you made us feel comfortable that you learned your lesson. You're not going to take this second chance for granted. You're going to do better to do the right things. Well, being right back in the club, that was the atmosphere that got you to where you were. Tossed out of a fucking Ferrari in the hospital. Now all of a sudden you back in the clubs. I don't care if you were drinking or not. I don't care if a drink was caught in your hand or not. Why are you in that environment, bro? Why are you in that type of surrounding? What do they tell a crackhead? Stay away from the other crackheads when you recover. Well, you're an alcoholic, bro, so you shouldn't be around a bunch of alcoholics. You should be at home with them little girls. You should be in the gym. You should be somewhere on the road jogging. You should be getting back in tip-top shape talking about you a savage. You're going to take on the best. You're going to take on the best in the clubs? Come on, man. Come on, man.
Come on now. Now, look, what do you think on this, Two Hands? The partying, not being dedicated. How do you see Terrence Crawford going up against a guy like, you know, Errol Spence Jr. right now? Because I think Terrence Crawford stops Spence right now.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I mean, he stopped that man. He stopped that man like red light traffic, man. He stops that man really fast. He ain't dedicated enough. And you talking about an elite upper echelon fighter. I mean, the best of the best. Errol Spence, the way Sean Porter was touching that man up like a game of Simon Says, bro, it would be too easy for Bud Crawford, man. You better start dedicating himself to his craft if he want even a chance at Bud. Because right now, the way it sits, oh man, Bud beats the brakes off of him.
Beats the brakes off of him, and it's not even close. The guy's not dedicated, because if it's easy for Porter to touch you like that, what is it going to be when you face a guy like Bud Crawford to touch you like that? That's the difference. When Bud Crawford gets in you, that's a whole different game plan. That's a whole different fight you got. And then just like they said about Canelo Alvarez, I just want to touch on this one more time too. A lot of people are saying, you know, Canelo's cherry picking Billy Joe Saunders, which doesn't make sense. But let's say Canelo Alvarez would have fought, I don't know, Callum Smith. Would that be a cherry pick? If he fought, Jamal Charlo, they'll say, well, he's not fighting Andrade. If he fights Andrade, he's not fighting Charlo. There's always going to be another excuse.
Who, Jamal Charlo, the dude who got his IBF belt off Cornelius Brundage? Give me a break. Give me a break, man. These dudes can't be serious, man. Out of all of the guys, man, Billy Joe Saunders got the best skill set and he's got the best resume. That's the best choice of action that he could take. But it don't matter who it is, man. These Floyd Mayweather fans, they ain't never gonna give him his credit.
And then they say Mean Machine dropped Terrence Crawford. Mean Machine in the Terrence Crawford fight, in the drop or whatever you want to call it. If you think that that's going to make a difference in how Terrence Bud Crawford destroys Errol Spence Jr., you don't know anything about boxing. You don't know anything about boxing. Go get him, D.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like this is the thing with these casuals and these fanboys, man. Mean Machine dropped Terrence Crawford. So what? Mean Machine got stopped, you idiot. Are you that dumb? Don't you know that fighters get dropped in fights? Does that matter that they got dropped? No. Who won the fight? And after he got dropped, what kind of heart and desire did he show? He got up and beat the hell out of Cal Velasquez. But see, you so dumb, you didn't see that. The only thing you seen was him getting dropped. And somehow you equate that to that meaning problem with Spence. Well, stylistically, Spence and Cal Velasquez are two totally different fighters. You idiot. So the fact that Cal Velasquez dropped Terrence Crawford doesn't mean a damn thing about what Spence can do to him. But you don't know boxing, and it's clear.
And then he had one more follow-up. He said, but he took flush shots, Errol Spence, from Sean Porter. When has Sean Porter been the biggest puncher in the division? When has Sean Porter been this elite level knockout puncher? When has he been that? Because we just saw old Manny Pacquiao hurt Keith Thurman, something Porter wasn't able to do. Let's stop playing and building up everything that Errol Spence does. You're on your knees trying to please him and build up into something bigger than what it is. You got to get off your knees, my brother. You got to stand up, wipe off your glass, put a smile on your face, and tell the truth. We got to give it to him, two hands. We got to give it to him, my brother.
Look, man, they putting too much stock in Errol Spence, man. Let's be serious here. The last two guys that Errol Spence stopped, that he's fought, he couldn't stop him. And to be perfectly honest, Sean Porter is the lower tier of all of the top welterweights. He's a B- at best. He couldn't stop him. Very short hands, couldn't stop him. Now, when it came to Mikey Garcia, we're talking about a certified lightweight. He could not stop him. He couldn't stop him. And we're talking about Aegis Kavaluskas, who is known to have heavy hands, who is known to be a bully pressure fighter, who is a consensus top 10 welterweight all across the board, who Terrence Crawford fought in that style and didn't even worry about exercising head movement and put him down on the floor multiple times, beating him at his own game when everybody said Terrence was going to go out, box him, and make it look easy. Absolutely not. He made it a slugfest and he beat him at his own game. And a guy who probably hits a lot harder than Errol Spence, to be perfectly honest. So you can look at it however you want to, but those are just the facts.
Yeah, he definitely hits harder than a Sean Porter because whether you guys know it or not, Cal Velasquez was at 79% knockout ratio before he fought Crawford, but he's still at 73. The dude got popped. Porter ain't been known to have pop like that. So getting hit in the chin by Cal Velasquez and getting hit in the chin by a Porter is totally different. But again, you're not too bright, dude, and we can see that.
And then here's another one. He said he took chocolate brownies from Kell Brook as well. First of all, you're talking about a broken fighter, a guy who was weight drained and coming off of medical extension, and you're bragging about a victory over that? We're going to call you cue ball because looking at your picture, we already know how you think. You got to expand your mind and realize that Kell Brook was a broken fighter when he fought Errol Spence Jr. You don't get credit for fighting at Kell Brook. You don't get credit for fighting a guy coming off a knockout loss and a broken eye. You just don't get credit for that. You don't. And Kell Brook was winning the early rounds. And why are you losing rounds? You look stupid. Come on, Spence, don't let him get away with that, my brother.
I mean, I can't let him get away with it, but he wants to give, they want to give Errol Spence all of his credited knockdown powers, attributed to guys like, a Leonard Bundu, or a Lamont Peters, or a Carlos Ocampo, or a Chris Van Heerden. That's where you want to give all, is that really saying that he's got power? Let's talk about it. Lamont Peterson, punch drunk. Chris Algieri, the same Chris Algieri that was stopped by Amir Khan, who you guys give hell for Terrence Crawford fighting. I mean, Errol Spence doesn't even have the great resume that you guys talk about. Errol Spence isn't this devastating puncher. Errol Spence isn't this great fighter. He is a guy who is naturally gifted, who, if he took his craft more serious, he could be a lot greater fighter. But God, right now, man, he's a dud. He's a dud, dude. And he's making himself look bad with every performance. I mean, come on now. Like, Sean Porter was the easy route, correct? He went life or death with that man and really lost. And if Sean Porter was a much cleaner puncher, it would have been no way to even debate it, even with the knockdown.
And hold on. And he said, who has Bud fought at 147 since we talking about? Okay, let's put it like this. Who at 147 wanted to fight Bud? Don't worry, I'll wait. Who at 147 wanted to fight Bud? When he called out Errol Spence to his face, no response. No response. When he called out Keith Thurman, obviously we know Keith Thurman, across the street, he don't want no smoke. And Danny Garcia rejected the contract offer. So who wants to fight Bud Crawford at 147? And it just been debunked, the whole thing, of Sean Porter is not even interested in a Terrence Crawford fight. Who wants to fight Bud Crawford, D? Who wants to fight him?
Nobody wants to fight Bud. Nobody's clamoring to fight Bud. And, this dude is just asking idiotic question after idiotic question. But I'll answer your question, moron. So let's talk about who Bud fought at 147. First, he fought a champion. Now, you can say what you want about him, but he fought a champion. You idiot. Second, he fought Cal Velasquez, which was ranked top 10. You idiot. Then he fought Jose Benavidez. Now, I always give him flack for stopping Jose so late because Jose had limited mobility. But yet again, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Jose Benavidez a dog? This dude was a good fighter. He was no bum fighter in there. And the fact that he did so well against Terrence Crawford with limited mobility shows you who Terrence Crawford is.
Hey, Dick.
It shows you.
I know how we smash all of that real quick. Who has Mikey Garcia fought at 147?
Woo! Spence and got demolished.
Woo! But
since that's the question you asking, who has Mikey Garcia fought at 147 since Bud isn't getting a shot?
Right.
And then here's another problem. Why is Danny Garcia worthy of a shot over a unification with Bud Crawford? Remember, it's strap season. Explain to me that. Explain that to me. Salute to Myron Magnus. Peace and pugilism, my brother NBBC. Salute, my brother. Always.
Magnus, salute.
What's up, Double M?
Double M. And real boxing news just proved he's fake boxing news. He said Bud is a bum. Who should anyone fight him? What are you talking about? This guy is just obviously a Terrence Crawford hater, don't know anything about boxing because he's just sitting up here talking nonsense. If Bud was a bum, then that would have been the first guy Errol Spence fought.
Yeah, and not only that, Real Boxing News, if you have a channel, and it seems like you do because it's Real Boxing News, you should go immediately delete it right off of YouTube for that comment. Delete it. If you can sit up here and call Bud Crawford a bum, this is the Spence fan telling you, you are an idiot. Go delete the channel and smack yourself in the problem.
I got the urge to go in on him because he keeps saying stupid stuff. Danny Garcia got a better resume than all of them. What are you talking about? Terrence Crawford was undisputed at 140. What are we talking about? Every fight that Danny Garcia had to step up at 147, he got beat against Keith Thurman, against Sean Porter. Guess again, stupid. Your boxing news is garbage truck juice. You are garbage truck juice. I cannot explain that anymore. And then he's talking about Canelo doesn't want Charlo because who is Jamal Charlo? He's fighting Dennis Hogan, moving up in weight, coming off a loss. Who is he fighting? Who is Jamal Charlo fighting? He's a nobody. He was gifted a belt. He's a paper champ. Jamal, who have I fought? Charlo. Jamal, tune up Charlo. Jamal, I don't know my opponent, Charlo.
And all you idiots that keep saying Canelo don't want Charlo, do y'all understand that he is not the highest paid athlete for no reason? They gave him a big contract, and they have to recoup that money. Charlo couldn't sell ice water in hell, so they're not even looking in Charlo's direction. He ain't doing nothing. Tell this idiot to go unify, and then that makes that fight with Canelo more worth it. That way, DAZN can make money off of that fight. They can't make no money off a Charlo fight. Not fighting Hogan's and Brandon Adams and doing nothing with himself. It's no money in that fight, bro. It's not about Canelo ducking them, you idiots. It's about $35 million for every fight. That money has to be made. And with Charlo doing the bum work that he's doing, they can't make that money off of that fight. So just stop it with the Canelo avoiding Charlo. Canelo not even looking at Charlo freaking direction because you need a fucking microscope to see him. He's that small.
And he said, I'm all facts, you are all emotions. Here's the problem. You just named an emotion. You said Bud Crawford is a bum.
Right.
Calling a former undisputed champion a bum. How is that a fact? That's an emotion, you idiot.
4-belt undisputed, a bum. You're an idiot. How is that a fact? See, that's why I said go delete your channel and smack yourself in the process.
And you know what? Smack your mama for giving birth to you. We gotta do it, two hands. We gotta do it.
She should have hit that eject button on that thing.
Well, I think the doctor beat him to it. The doctor smacked the shit out of his mama for having him. He didn't smack him on the butt. He smacked his mama. Here's
the problem. After Canelo stopped Jamal Charlo, what's the next excuse? Oh, you better fight Demetrius Andre. After Demetrius Andre get beat, you better fight David Benavidez. It's always going to be some excuse. It's always going to be something. A lot of people don't even want to realize Billy Joe Saunders is a good opponent. Billy Joe Saunders, it can give Canelo problems because he has a slick southpaw style. That's not going to be easy how people make it sound. It's a good fight. That's why Canelo himself said it's a great fight. I got Canelo winning, but I'm saying it's a good fight. That's all I'm saying. These fanboys don't want to understand the truth. It's a prime fighter. They said he never fights anybody in his prime. The man's in his prime. What are we talking about here? Jamal Charlo's at his prime in fighting guys moving up in weight coming off a loss. And then, hold on. And here's Jamal Charlo's next big fight. Chris Eubank Jr. Didn't Billy Joe Saunders already beat him?
He sure did.
D, two hands. Come on.
Exactly. Already beat him up.
I don't know what we're talking about here. We are talking about this fight. The Billy Joe Saunders fight is 100% how you build a legacy. That is 100% what you build a legacy off. Fights like this. So you mean to tell me this man just fought Sergey Kovalev, you going straight into fighting Billy Joe Saunders, and before that you fought Daniel Jacobs, screwed Rocky Fielding, but you went life or death with Triple G two times before that? Like, how can you even doubt him? How can you even doubt him? Everybody that he has fought has been at top 10, top 5 level ever since the Alberto Angulo fight. He been fighting nothing but dogs since then. Right. They all been top 10s. What is this dude talking about? Like I said, you talking about a fighter on Jamal Charlo who got his belt off of Cornelius old ass dinosaur bone Brundage. The only good, the decent win you could give him is the win against Julian Williams, and he was considered glass chin and not to have a gas tank before that. So I mean, and he's gifted a belt, but this is the guy who you putting all your stock in, who if he honestly pushed the button to go ahead and fight that guy, everybody would dog him for it, because we know he lost to Matt Korball. The same night his brother lost, just like they twins, they should have took twin L's that night.
Woo! Yep. And see these guys, man, they just like, y'all just say the dumbest things, bro. The dumbest things. Canelo fighting BJS is a good fight. And let's think about it this way. Canelo is getting ready to fight BJS. If I'm not mistaken, don't BJS hold some hardware? Now, who is Charlo fighting? Woo. What kind of hardware does he hold? See, y'all stupid, man. Y'all stupid. BJS holding hardware. He went from fighting a Hogan who lost to Munguia to fighting someone else with no hardware. How about he take that $7 million and unify?
Hey D, you know what? That's what they need to expect out of Charlo. When Charlo go ahead and had it hard to fight Jaime Munguia, then we got something to talk about because you got little Jaime Munguia calling out the Churro twins. Give me a break. He won't even fight Jaime Munguia, and you got the nerve to talk Canelo? Man, please, man.
And then this guy turns around and said, you Canelo lovers praise Munguia too. Dude got 35 fights, still fighting bums. Here's the difference. Jaime Munguia just turned 23 years old.
And he got a better record than Charlo.
Champion at 160. What are we talking about here? Two hands?
Stupid.
And he got a better record than Jamal Charlo.
And at least Munguia did something in his last fight Charlo didn't. He fight a fighter coming off of multiple wins and a fighter that belongs at 160 compared to Charlo fighting a guy coming off a loss, moving up in weight. Explain to me why Jaime Munguia, who's moving out of the prospect stage, is fighting better guys than you at this point. Make sense of that.
Right. And answer me this too. Answer me this. Why is he even entertaining fighting Chris Eubanks Jr. right now? Why is he even entertaining that fight? Because here's the thing. How much money would that fight bring him? Definitely ain't going to bring him no $7 million. Unification is way more important. Why is he even entertaining that? That shows you how worthless Charlo is. Because if I had Chris Eubanks Jr. over here, unification and $7 million over here, what was that, Chris Eubanks? I'm not even thinking about that. But he is. You know why? Because he's a Class A 100% certified duck.
Woo! And look, you're too worried about Jaime Munguia, who's a guy moving out of prospect stage, already fighting better competition than Jamal Charlo. Explain to me why that is. You fighting a guy, you're supposed to be a world champion, and you fighting a dude moving off of a loss. Explain that to me. And you know, there's one thing I also want to touch on. You know, Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis. Who is the better prospect right now? Or contender? We should both call them guys contenders right now. Because they're both
already know what I would say.
I gotta roll with Virgil, bro, because Virgil's stepping it up more, man. Jaron and his boots ain't even fought. His best fight is a C-level fighter at best. And I mean, that's it. He's not fighting anyone to prove himself. He's not going over and beyond. Virgil Ortiz done already stepped up in weight, already fighting better competition than Jaron and his boots. So he's being tested. You know, Jaron and his boots is not being tested. And he shouldn't even have struggled any at all with a guy like Ayabov. If he's going to, man, Virgil Ortiz would have iced that dude really quick and easily.
Yeah, there's no reason with all the skill set that Jaron Boots Ennis has, he should have been getting touched up like that with a guy like Ayabov. And Ayabov is supposed to be like his greatest test to this date. And he has 24 fights in. Let's be serious here. That was no test. And when you're talking about a guy like Virgil Ortiz, who fought a Brad Solomon, who's 28-1, who's never been stopped, who's fought a Anthony Orozco and a Mauricio Herrera in his last 3 fights. I mean, there's nothing really to talk about here. And this guy has stopped them all early. This kid is the real deal. I would like to say the same thing about Jaron Boots Ennis, but until he fights somebody like that, I can't say anything like that.
Right. And I really want to stop hearing the comparison in power because Jaron Boots Ennis has pops, but he don't have pop like Virgil. So just stop the power comparison, bro. Stop it. Virgil hits harder than him.
And I'm going to tell you this. I think Jaron Boots Ennis is a special fighter. I think he got a lot of dog in him. And I think he's making the guys like Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia nervous. They don't want to fight a guy like this. They don't see upside. So I think Jaron Ennis is a special fighter, but he desperately needs to move up. He has far too many fights. He's far too good to be sitting stagnant, and he's not going to improve if he doesn't improve the level of competition. You keep fighting lower tier guys, your skill set is not going to develop. And that's why Virgil Ortiz is getting better and better and better, because he keep fighting guys that have never been knocked out and knocking them out. He keep fighting guys with tricky styles. That's what you need from a fighter. I got Virgil Ortiz as being the better contender so far. Jaron Boots Ennis is still in it. I think that'll be a great fight one day. But Jaron Ennis, he desperately needs to step up a little bit more in competition. And all the welterweights are on the PBC side. So, I mean, I don't know. And you know, look at this guy. This guy's an absolute idiot. And so, real boxing news, go ahead and slap yourself and your mama for giving birth to you because you're garbage truck juice. Me, Two Hands, and D about to check out. Two Hands, tell the people where they can find you, how they can get in contact with you, my brother.
Man, y'all can all find my page on YouTube at Mr. Two Hands Up. That's how y'all get a hold of me. If y'all want to check me out, all your boxing content, that's what you need to do.
D, shoot them for the love of sports.
Let's talk about it. Hey, man, one thing for sure, y'all always gonna find me rocking out with my brother Nuke over here. But if you want to come see what I got to talk about, come see me on Speak Your Mind Sports Talk for the love of sports. Let's talk about it.
And one last thing that I'm going to tell everybody is this. I'm going to keep having D in two hands. And you know what? We're just going to get more lit and more turned up. And the next time all three of us get together, we're going to plug some fanboys. I'm going to have a fanboy on live with the link to debate. And I'm going to destroy him. I'm going to pass him the two hands. He's going to destroy him. And then D going to destroy him. That's all it is. And salute to TB Boxing Addict. You know what? You took your L like a man. Much respect.
Yeah.
Respect, bro.
Respect to you, TV. Respect to you, fam.
All right, salute everybody, the IBFP, and for the love of sports, let's talk about it.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.